make this a little bit bigger so that you can see it better. So we want to find the surface area of this object. So we first look, what are our shapes? We have a cylinder and a rectangular prism. Yeah, and then so if we label our shapes, we could label this one on the bottom as our first shape, and then the cylinder is going to be our second shape. And we're going to use the same strategy that we did before. We're going to find the complete surface area of our first shape and our complete surface area of our second shape. And then once we've done that, we're going to think about what would happen if I pulled it apart. When it's together, if I painted the whole thing and then I pulled it apart, what wouldn't be painted on my shape? And then we're going to have to think, I have to subtract that off of my surface area. So first, easy enough, let's just figure out the total surface area of that rectangular prism. We could either use the strategy where we just add up all 6 sides, or we could look at our formula sheet, and our formula sheet says that the surface area is 2 length times width plus 2 length times height plus 2 height times width. I'm not sure if that's exactly the same order as your formula sheet, but it's the same formula. Are you okay with calling this the length, this the width, and this the height? So then when we look at our numbers, our length is 12, our width is 5. Length is 12, our height is 8. Our height is 8, our width is 5. Type this all into our calculator all at once. And we get 392. So that's the total surface area of the rectangular prism on its own. Leave some space. And our second shape is a cylinder from our formula sheet. We take our cylinder formula from there. Now, do we know the radius of our shape? What is the radius going to be? 2, because the whole way across is 4. So our radius is going to be 2. Do we know the height? 6. So now we can figure out by plugging in 2 for the radius and 6 for the height. And plug that all in. And to one decimal place, we get 100.5. So that's the total surface area of the cylinder. So now we go back and say, if I put them together, so I imagine they're put together and the whole thing gets painted, and then I pull them apart again, what's not going to be painted? A small circle is not going to be painted on our rectangular prism. So I'm going to switch colors because I've got a surface area so far, but now what do I have to subtract? I have to subtract that small circle. What is the radius of that circle that's going to be missing? 2. So I go to my calculator, I take 392, and I subtract pi times 2 squared. And now I get an answer of 379.4. Yes? So we have the diameter because it's telling us that it's 4 all the way across there. Yeah, because it goes up. Yeah, and then the radius is going to be half of that. Okay, so now we've figured out what part of our prism is going to be painted. We've already subtracted that circle. Now we imagine the cylinder part. When I pull off that cylinder, what's not painted? The circle on the bottom, right? So I have to go to my cylinder. I have to go to my cylinder and I have to subtract a circle off of that. And it's going to be pi, the radius is still 2. So I go 100.5 and I minus pi times 2 squared, and I get a new surface area of 87.9. So now if I want to calculate the total surface area, it will equal these two parts added together, the 87.9 plus the 379.4. 467.3, were we given units? Yes. Centimeters, so our area will be centimeters squared.